Quick question. Is it possible to become a millionaire with a median salary? Millionaire means one specific thing, a net worth over $1 million. Everything you own minus everything you owe. There are 23.6 million millionaires in the United States. More than any country on earth, America created almost half of the world's new millionaires last year alone. So today, we're going to see what it really takes to become a millionaire with only a normal salary from a 9-to-5 job, because it is mathematically possible and achievable, but it takes time and discipline, and in the end, I will give 7 ways you can accelerate that even more. To make it simple, let's take a realistic person. So here she is. She's 24, 4-year degree, first real job, and she's earning $60,000, the median for a young American with a bachelor's degree. Quick note, you'll see headlines saying the average starting salary is closer to $69,000. That's an average, pulled upward by computer science and engineering graduates. The median is around 60. That's who we're modeling. After federal income tax and payroll taxes, she keeps about 84%. Add an average state income tax, and she's taking home roughly 80%, about $48,000 or $4,000 a month. That number swings by where she lives. In Texas or Florida, no state income tax, she keeps more. In California or New York, less. 80% is the national middle. Now, what happens to that salary across a career? The research on American age earnings profiles is clear. A college graduate's pay rises roughly 70% in real terms from entry to peak, and peaks somewhere in the 45 to 54 bracket before flattening. So in today's money, she finishes around $102,000. Her actual paycheck decades from now will show a much bigger number, but that's mostly inflation. Every dollar in this video is in today's purchasing power. That's the only honest way to do a 40-year projection. Now, the variable that decides everything, her savings rate, because you cannot invest money you already spent. The American personal savings rate is about 4%. Fidelity and Vanguard both recommend 12 to 15%, including your employer match. So the gap between what people do and what works is enormous. For the simulation, we'll use 15% of take-home pay, $600 a month in year 1, rising as her salary rises. And she invests it the boring way, a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, automatically every month, never touched. The return assumption is 7%, and I want to be precise. The S&P has returned about 10% a year historically, but roughly 7% after inflation. Since I'm reporting everything in today's dollars, 7 is the correct figure to use. Using 10 and claiming today's dollars would be double counting. That's the whole plan. Median salary, 15%. Index fund, 41 years. Let's run it. At 30, she's barely got anything, and this is where most people quit. Years of discipline, almost nothing visible. At 40, it starts looking like real money. At 50, the line stops being a line and becomes a hockey stick, because her returns are now earning more than she can save. And at 65, $1,800,000 in today's money. She never earned 6 figures until her 50s, never started a company, never picked a stock, 15% and 41 years of not panicking. Here's what different savings rates produce over that same career, all in today's dollars. 10% to 1.2 million, 15% to 1.8 million, 20% to 2.4 million, 30% to 3.6 million. And to simply cross $1 million, she needs to save about 8% of her take-home pay, which, and this is the uncomfortable part, is still double what the average American actually saves. So the answer is yes. Genuinely, mathematically, yes. Everything I just showed you is in today's dollars, so her actual account statement in 2067 won't say 1.8 million. At 2.5% inflation, it'll say something closer to $5 million, which sounds incredible, and it is the same amount of money. The number just got bigger because the dollars got smaller. Now run that backwards, because this is the part that matters. $1 million 41 years from now buys what about $360,000 buys today. At 2% inflation, it's about $440,000. At 3%, under $300,000. So becoming a millionaire by retirement is not the finish line it sounds like. It's roughly $350,000 in real terms, a comfortable retirement, not generational wealth. The word was coined when $1 million was a fortune. It hasn't meant that for a long time, and it'll mean less by the time you get there. The target isn't standing still, it's moving away from you at about 2.5% a year. That's why the goal shouldn't be a number, it should be a rate. So here are 7 ways to move faster. 1. Start earlier than feels necessary. This is free and it matters most. Delay isn't just lost savings, it's lost compounding, and the years you lose are the expensive ones at the far end where the curve is steepest. Run the same model, but she starts at 34 instead of 24. Same salary, same discipline, 10 fewer years. She finishes with $963,000 instead of $1.8 million. 10 years of delay costs her nearly half the outcome. 2. Take the free money first. If your employer offers a 401k match and you're not capturing all of it, pause this video and fix that. The average promised match is 4.7% of pay, a record high. Dollar for dollar, that's an instant 100% return on the matched portion. 50 cents on the dollar is 50%. Nothing else in finance pays that, guaranteed, with zero risk. And per Vanguard's data, about 1 in 3 participants saves below their match threshold, leaving free money behind every single paycheck. 3. Attack your savings rate, not your stock picks. People spend hours hunting a fund that beats the market by a point, and 0 hours on where their money actually goes. Look at the table. Going from 10% to 20% doubles the final result. No fund manager can do that for you. And on subscriptions, I won't give you a fake precise number because there isn't a good one. What research does consistently find is that people underestimate their own subscription spending by roughly 2.5 times. Whatever you think you're paying, check. You're probably wrong in one direction. 4. Raise your income because savings rate has a ceiling. You can go from 10% to 20%, maybe 30%, but you can't save 50% of a small number forever. The math runs out of room. The other lever is earning more, and the strongest predictor remains field and skill. If you picked your field years ago, that's fine. Retraining mid-career is normal now, especially into tech, with online programs you can do alongside a job. 5. Keep investing in your own skills after school ends. Your degree opened a door. It doesn't compound on its own. Becoming genuinely expert at something is how you stop accepting a salary and start setting a price. 6. Understand the ceiling of being an employee. Here's the honest limit in our simulation. She did everything right and finished with $1.8 million. Comfortable, not rich. Because an employee sells time, and time is finite. Now, the data on how millionaires actually got there is genuinely encouraging. Across multiple studies, Ramsey's 10,000-person survey, Fidelity, WealthX, roughly 8 in 10 American millionaires are self-made, not heirs. In Ramsey's study, 79% received no inheritance at all, and a third never earned 6 figures in a single year. Most got there through a workplace retirement plan and consistency. Exactly the path in this video. But if you want a genuinely different outcome, it usually means owning something, not just earning. And be honest about that trade. Per the Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 60% of new U.S. businesses survive 3 years, and only about half survive 5. That's a real coin flip. Entrepreneurship pays more because it risks more. That's not a bug, it's the price. 7. Leverage carefully. A stable salary unlocks something cash alone can't. A bank will lend to you. Buy property and a tenant helps pay down the loan while your paycheck keeps feeding the index fund. 2 engines instead of 1. But the honest caveat, the 30-year fixed mortgage is around 6.7% right now, historically normal, but far from the near free money of a few years ago. Leverage multiplies losses exactly as efficiently as gains, and an empty rental month is a bill, not an asset. This is the highest risk item on the list, and it's last for a reason. So, can you become a millionaire on an average salary? Yes. A median income, 15% saved, an index fund, and 4 decades of not panicking gets you to roughly $1.8 million in today's money. No secret, no talent required. The boring path works, and it works for most people who actually stay on it. But hold 2 things at once. It works, and the word millionaire is worth about 1/3 of what your instinct says it is. The number was never the point. What matters is the moment your money earns more than you do and you stop trading hours for dollars. The people who get there aren't smarter. They started earlier, saved a bigger slice, and left it alone. If you want the step-by-step on the hardest part, the first 100,000, I broke that down in full. It's right here. And tell me in the comments, what's your savings rate?